Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this is weird. It's it's just us. It's just you and me. How crazy is that? We've had guests on for the last 3 weeks in a row, so it's very odd to just be here all by myself again. So let's recap a little bit of July because July has just been an absolutely off the wall month for so many reasons. Some we'll go into and some we will not. A few weeks ago, we had the Hell on Gravel half marathon. Ran the half. It is actually the Hell on Gravel ultra marathon. They have the half, the full, and the ultra. Went down. There were several Kansas City runners. A super great time had by all. So you can go back and listen to that episode. It was myself, William, and Cody. We all discussed the events of the weekend. I just want to reiterate what we said on there. It was a really good event, really, really fun. And I think I finally figured out why I really liked it. And I know this is more indicative of the ultra marathon community. The just the feel of it. It was a very small field. All right. There was only, what do we decide? 40 people between the three distances, and that was it. Everyone's just kind of hanging out at the park shelter before the race, after the race, talking about the race, talking about other runs. Again, the race director's right there talking with us. It was a very laid back kind of approach and a laid back event. It was really neat. And I hear that's more standard in the ultra running community. And hey, you know what? I'm here for it. That was actually really fun. So, again, the Hell on Gravel half marathon for me, that was the first week in July. And that was down in El Dorado, Kansas. Or I'm sorry, El Dorado. Got told I said that one wrong before. But a really fun event. I will definitely be going back to do that one. Then we fast forward to the next week. I actually took my little vacation that I take every year with a couple buddies where we go down to the lake and spend the weekend on the water, basically drinking beer and telling lies. And so that was a really fun weekend for me. We had Karen as the guest host on the podcast. So she took over that week, did an amazingly great episode on tempo runs. So if you like the science behind the running, I can tell you straight up, you're going to get very little of that from me. That is not my jam. However, it is Karen's. And so when Karen was guest host of the podcast, she broke down tempo runs, did an excellent job. We got tons of really great feedback about that episode. And so I want to thank Karen for taking over for me while I was gone and breaking that down. I know it was very helpful. Karen will be back in September with another episode. I don't know what her topic is going to be because she can talk about whatever the heck she wants, but we will have another episode for her. So I'm going to break down how that's going to look because you guys are going to be like, whoa, what's going on here? This is a little weird. So in September, I'm going to Berlin and doing the Berlin Marathon. And yes, we are going to have all the coverage in the world on that race. Trust me. Everything I can put out there for you, I'm going to. But the race is run on September 29th, and that's a Sunday. New episodes drop on Monday. Okay, well, the Monday, the day after the race, I'm still going to be on the other side of the planet over in Europe. So I'm not going to be able to put a new episode out the day after the Berlin Marathon. And Karen is going to have an episode. We will drop it on Monday, September 30th. And then everything from me and Berlin will be on the following week's episode, which will be the first Monday in October. I know we're now just finishing up July. We've still got a little bit, but trust me, it's going to be here before we know it. So I just want to throw that out there so you kind of know what's coming up. And people, I know there are those who are excited to hear about the whole Berlin experience. And trust me, I'm excited to go do it. We're just going to have to wait that one extra week so I can get back in town, get something put together, and then get it out there for everyone. So there's that. And then let's see, what do we do after that? Oh, after that, we had the great folks from Rexy Run on. So if you did not listen to last week's episode, you can pause this, go back, listen to last week's episode, and make sure you listen to the episode with the ladies from Rexy Run. So Christina and Erica, they were on the podcast last week. They were wonderful, awesome, amazing, spectacular. You need to listen to the episode with Baby J's Legacy of Hope. And their event is Rexy Run. That is coming up August 17th, and that is in Lawrence, Kansas. I'm telling you, I'm not joking here. This is a Back of the Pack podcast mandatory race. I really want everyone to be there. So right now, when we talked to them last week, they're up 30 registrants from this time last year. I want 50. I want them to at least be up 50 or more people from last year. I think I said last week a second ago, from last year's numbers. Okay, so plus 50. So we need some more people. You can use a code when you sign up for Rexy Run. Use the code BOTP, back of the pack, BOTP, and that will get you a discount. Don't quote me, but I think they upped it to $10 off registration. So either for the 5K or the 8K, I think that's what they did for us because they are such wonderful people. So I want everyone at Rexy Run Saturday, August 17th, Lawrence, Kansas. That is 3 weeks away. I want everybody there because they do amazing things to help the families of kids who are going through cancer, receiving cancer treatments. This helps the families, the siblings, the parents cover expenses not otherwise covered because, and just imagine, you can imagine what it would look like for a family when you have a child going through cancer treatment. Everything else stops. Your work, your personal life, yeah, drinking with the boys, going shopping with the ladies, whatever, insert it here. That all stops when your kid is going through cancer treatment. And Baby J's Legacy of Hope will help those families who are going through it. So, talk about a great cause. It is all throughout the Midwest here. We discussed they stretch into Missouri a little bit. They're all over Kansas. And you know what? If we can get them more funding and get them going bigger and badder, they'll extend because, hey, why wouldn't they? And they can help as many families as they possibly can. But that comes on all of us to help them. So please sign up for Rexy Run. Another thing, they said 100% of the funds will go towards the family. And this year it's Maddox. It's Maddox's family. And Maddox in remission now, which is great. But the story doesn't stop once they hit remission. It keeps going. And that family needs all the love and support. 100% of the funds go to that because keep this in mind. The race is paid for. The bills are paid. So any registrations we do at this point, it doesn't go towards putting on that event. It goes to the family. So when they say 100%, gosh darn it, they mean 100% of these funds go to that family of that little boy who has been going through cancer treatments, again, in remission now. But what they say, yes, the MRI monthly, things are going to come up. So I really hope you all will consider signing up and doing that race. If you already are signed up, I cannot wait to see you down there. Remember, anything dinosaur themed is good that you can wear. Blue is Maddox's favorite color. And then, as they've told me before, bright colors. All right. The kids just get a kick out of bright colors. There's also going to be Star Wars cosplayers down there. There's Disney princesses, a lot of stuff for kids. And kids run for the younger kids. And then, older kids do the 5K. But it's a family friendly event. There's something they really geared towards helping out the kids because there's going to be kids there whose families are in the same boat. It might be Max's year as honorary Rexy, but there are going to be other kids and other families there who need your support and need the support of our community. So please, please, please register. Be at that race on August 17th. Okay. I will now back off that. But as you guys can tell, I am passionate about this group and what they do. I think it is insanely important for us to support. Okay, Kyle, shut up. Move on. All right. Race review. This past weekend, we were down in Pleasant Hill, Missouri for the Rock Island Half Marathon. Let's get this out of the way first. Here's the medal. If you are watching on Facebook and or YouTube, there you go. It's a nice medal. So Rock Island Trail is actually used to be a railroad. It was a railroad track. Well, they took all the ties and the bars out and everything, and now it is a trail. So it's super flat, and that's why the theme is always train related. So nice half marathon. If you guys remember, if you listen back that far, we did this race last year, and this is where you really can tell the difference in weather. All right, we've gone over what the heat will do to you and the degradation that certain temperatures will bring to you. And there was no better proof than this year. Okay, so if we go back to last year, 2023 Rock Island Trail, the hottest race on the calendar all of 2023 was Rock Island. Okay, we started with temperatures in the 90s and it climbed from there. No clouds, direct sun, no breeze. It is a tree-lined course, which is nice, but there are breaks in the trees, and then there was no breeze getting in there. So even with that tree cover, it was like a sauna back there on the trail. And last year when we ended, we had heat index over 100 degrees, people dropping like flies out there. Okay, that was 2023. You can listen to that episode if you would like. Again, the long and short of it, it was hot. So we fast forward to 2024, a much better year. Now, look, it is still late July and it is still the Midwest. So it was still hot. Not nearly as bad as last year, though. Thank you to the big race director in the sky. We had some cloud cover. All right. It was, I would say partially. The sun did come out at times, but it also clouded up at times. It did start hazy, but it didn't start hot. It was humid start to finish, but we're never going to escape that. But it could have been a heck of a lot worse. So for me, and again, just to show you the difference, last year heat index well over 100. This year, I didn't look at the heat index, but I'm sure the heat index was somewhere probably in the mid to upper 80s. Okay, but it could have been anywhere between a 15, I don't know, around a 15-degree switch from last year. I came in 20 minutes faster this year than I did last year. And that simply was because of the heat. I don't feel like I'm in any greater shape. I certainly don't feel like I am. I feel like I've probably put on 10 pounds since last year, but I came in 20 minutes faster this year, and that was simply because of the heat, lack thereof compared to 2023. So this course, again, it is in Pleasant Hill, Missouri. You start at I think they call it their community center. That's where the GPS had me going, but we park there outdoor. It's at a park. It's at the trailhead where the Rock Island Trail begins. And pretty easy. I don't know. I would imagine I would say that registration was up. I'm trying to compare last year this year. I think more people probably registered for this year's race, maybe because it was cooler and people thought they weren't going to die as much. That certainly could be the case because last year was so god awful terrible. But I think it was a good showing for the half marathon. It was a good showing for the 5K. Again, not a bad race. There's not much I can really break down on this race. There's not a lot of twists and turns. You start on the trail. All right. Now you go out of the trail. You do have to hit about two different roads. You kind of have to loop around from where this trail starts at this park and then where it picks up on the other side of a couple roads. It's kind of a weird beginning. And then also because it's an out and back, it's a weird end. But you start, you go, you hit this road. Okay, fine. Hang a right, hit another road, hang a right. And then you go to the trail. The trail is just, again, 6.5 out, 6.5 back. Going out really wasn't too bad. The breeze was kind of in our face. There was a little bit of a breeze on Saturday, which was lovely. It was definitely sunnier on the first half, but again, cooler start to the day. So as we're heading out, it's not so bad. Little breeze in the face. You get the trees. It's not nearly as hot. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm already dripping sweat by the first mile and a half. That was going to happen, but not nearly as uncomfortable as last year because last year was just unfreaking comfortable. So anyway, we head on out. And again, what I like, and I know a lot of people don't like out and backs, but the one thing I really do like about out and backs, once you get far enough down the path and that the faster runners and other people are coming back, it's a distraction. I don't know about you, but going against everyone, it's a good distraction. And so I just kind of find my pace and I'm not really thinking about the run that I'm doing. I'm looking at all the people coming back the other direction. You're like, oh, look, there's the leader. Oh, wow. Zoom, look at him go. Okay, here's the first female overall. Okay, zoom, look at her go. Okay, that guy looks like he's my age and he's absolutely smoking me. Okay, good job out of him, bastard. And then, then you start to see like some of the people that you know. Okay, oh, hey, look, hey, give some high fives, give some low fives, take a couple selfies. We had a few, as we cross, stop, take a picture, and then, both of us continue on. So that was really cool. I like the distraction when people are coming back the other direction. It also, should you choose, if there was a particular person you have maybe a friendly competition with, or maybe a completely silent competition and they don't know that you're competing with them, you can judge where they are at. Now, for me, because I know I don't have any chance of catching this person, I always like to see where I am in relation to our boy Cody. It's like, oh, he's having a really good race. Look at him go. Zoom. And so, I like seeing other people doing well. I did, again, it's kind of been the story of my last few half marathons. I did completely average. It was just right in the middle of what I do. Nothing better, nothing worse, just kind of right there. A little faster than Hell on Gravel, which I would hope. Hell on Gravel was a new experience, a tougher course, more hills, tree obstacles, which I certainly did not have, although it wasn't much. So I don't know. I'm thinking because Hell on Gravel was a little cooler than Rock Island was. Again, these temperatures can really affect your time. And I'm learning as we talk about this kind of week in, week out, especially right now in the dead of summer, I'm learning that it affects it far more than I ever thought. All right. I took the course. I had seen that kind of the numbers that they gave, and now I'm seeing those numbers in action. It's like, wow, this temperature really does affect our running, doesn't it? It's not something that most of the time, exceptions always can be made, we can just run through. Like, oh, I can still run everything the way I normally should if it was a 50-degree day, but I'm going to do it now when it's 95. No, again, unless you're having the race of your life or you're an elite level person, that's probably not going to happen, and certainly doesn't happen for me. So interesting to see how this stuff kind of is at play during the dead of the summer. Now, we, unfortunately, here Midwest, we have heat advisories coming up this week, starting this very day of the podcast. It is getting hot, 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 hot right now. And so we're going to have a really crappy week coming up of training unless you're getting out super early or super late. And I always recommend you get out super early. It's just always a little cooler in the morning than even after you wait for the sun to go down at nighttime. But either which way, man, it is getting spicy outside again as we are coming down to the end of July and about to jump into the very start of August. August always can be the worst month. And unfortunately, for anyone like me, going to Berlin, where we have a marathon coming up, but it's kind of one of the earlier ones. I think having a marathon at the end of September is an early one, whereas Chicago's early October, and then New York is early November. We kind of get the short end of the straw in training, getting ready for Berlin, because we have to train and do our longest miles during the hottest part of the year. And that's a struggle. It's a challenge, but we kind of knew what was coming, so we signed up for this challenge. We knew that this was going to be a thing, and now we have to deal with it. But the heat certainly going to be in effect for the Midwest right now, and I'm sure probably most of the country, although I have not gone out and searched the Weather Channel to see where you'll see the states and everything. Who's getting the worst of it? Well, all of us right now. It's just freaking hot outside, man. And I don't think anything is going to change that. Okay, so after we talked about all this, let's get real wild here. All right, are you guys ready? Because I harp on the heat all the time. All right, I tell you, be safe, careful of the heat indexes, talking about how hot it is, what it feels like outside. We've got a whole bunch of bad heat coming up. So let's talk about it. Now, again, I'm going to mention this article because I found it fascinating. I cannot stress enough, though, be friggin' careful. This heat is nothing to play around with. But are there benefits to running in the heat? I know. You may be like, why are you talking about this? You're so anti-running the heat. And a lot of times I am. I am anti-running the heat if it's unsafe. There are times where it can be beneficial. So I found an article. I know we're actually going to go to an article. See, it's just me here today. This is from, let's see, is this the Mother Runners? Their site is fun. They have a lot of cool stuff. They say it is actually beneficial to run in the heat. And I'm going to tell you why they think this. You can agree, you can disagree. But again, I'm going to read this. This does not mean go out there, run 20 miles without taking any water with you when it's 101 degrees. Okay. I'm not saying that. So please, please take all of this, just as something fun to listen to. You make your own decisions, but be very, very safe. Be very, very safe. So here we go. What are some of the benefits of heat training? Does running in the heat make you a better runner? Yep. Here's how and why. Number one, it makes you faster. The main benefit of running in the heat is that it makes you run faster in cooler temperatures. You run slower in hot weather because your body is working hard to keep itself cool. This is because your body is undergoing physiological adaptations to work with less oxygen, similar to altitude training, where your body has less oxygen in the air to breathe it. Heat training involves less oxygen to your working muscles to keep you cool. As your body learns how to work hard in the heat, it creates adaptations that improve performance at more comfortable temperatures. Other adaptations include a decrease in salt in sweat, reduced heart rate at a given pace, and then earlier sweating. Number two, higher blood plasma volume. Again, this is the sciencey stuff that I'm not going to touch, but this is what they say. Heat training increases red blood plasma volume, offering more blood to carry oxygen to your muscles. Similarly, altitude forces the body to generate a higher number of red blood cells also. Okay. So very short, sweet, and to the point on that, and I will take their word for it. Number three, stronger mental game. This one I can get behind. Next time you lace up to run in cooler temps, you might actually have a better run due to a lowered rate of perceived exertion. Studies find that heat training can improve VO2 max, resilience, and improved rate of perceived exertion and fatigue, and makes you mentally tougher. All this can make you a better runner come fall. Okay, so they don't jump into that much, but let me put it in Kyle terms. In Kyle terms, we dread running in the heat so much, and we dread things like Rock Island that we know are going to be crazy hot. We get really worked up about these events that we have to go out to. So when it is super hot outside and we know we have to run, it affects us mentally. We will dread the event. Or on the other side of that, when we get done, we feel like we've done something big. We've done something pretty, earmuffs kids, badass. because we survived a hot event. We still got our miles in. We still got our run in. Maybe our time wasn't great, but it also wasn't terrible. It does a lot mentally. And yes, while I am out there, and I just did this at Rock Island, while I'm out there running in the heat, I think about and I do the mental math. Oh man, in about 2 months, we're going to be running in beautiful fall weather. Maybe just in 2 months, we'll have that nice 60-degree, high of a day. And I'll go run and then I can go home and watch football and, put the chili in the crock pot, that kind of a thing. So then when we do finally get to those races, you can also look back and be like, oh man, I remember when it was 101 degrees outside. Now this is beautiful. I can't wait to run this race. This is going to be so much better than that really hot race I did, 2 months ago. So I agree that it definitely can be a mental thing. Yeah, and just it's a mental thing. It can make you a better runner. Let's see what else about running in the summer. How does hot weather affect running? Running in heat makes you run slower. We know that. We've been over that. Your blood volume is decreasing, supplying less oxygen to your working muscles and giving you less energy. This makes your heart and lungs work harder. You're sweating, which is causing fluid loss, which can impact performance by 4 to 6% for every 2% of body weight you've lost, of body weight loss. Okay, see, they're diving deep into it right now. Your heart rate is increasing 2 to 4 beats per minute in 60. Wow, a typo in this article. Geez. In 60 to 75-degree heat and up to 10 beats in 75 to 90 degrees. So, and I've heard this, a lot of people lately have realized that their heart rates are getting really high while running in this heat. Okay. And I've heard people say, I don't know what's doing that. It's the heat. So again, your heart rate can go up 2 to 4 beats per minute in 60 to 75. And then it can go up as much as 10 more in the hot stuff in 75 to 90. So again, if you're someone who, keeps close track on your watch, and again, these watches aren't always accurate, but if you're watching your pulse and everything on the watch and you're starting to get too high, the heat, it's the heat. Nothing's wrong with you. It's just hot outside, except we're out running in it. So there still might be something wrong with us. How long does it take to see benefits from heat training? It can take about 1 to 2 weeks to reap the benefits of running in the heat. So by now we should all be seeing some benefits, and maybe we are. Again, faster time for me at this year's Rock Island than last year. I'm sure that running in this heat, it sure doesn't hurt as long as we're safe about it. The next part is how much slower do we run in hot weather? We already covered that. We've talked about that before. Is it bad to run in humidity? Midwesterners, we know this one. If you're running in heat and humidity, you are a beast. They say that, not me, but I agree. You are a beast. Let's see. Actually, it is the dew point that can make running in the heat and humidity oppressive. Dew point is when the temperature when water condenses. They phrase things weird. If it is close to the air temperature, then running will feel challenging, if not downright oppressive. This is mainly because the sweat your body is producing to cool your body has nowhere to go. It cannot evaporate. This then leads to a high core body temperature, stressing your heart and lungs. A dew point that is 70 or above is uncomfortable and approaching oppressive. But alas, there are actually running in humidity benefits too. Similar to running in hot, dry heat, the excess stress on your body, assuming it isn't dangerous, can make future runs feel easier and help your lungs work more efficiently. So, okay, dew point, something I am not great at keeping track of, but I have heard it's very important. We had a nice cool down week and a half ago here in my area. The dew point was way down. Okay, well, when we get a dew point, they say 70 and above, you're sweating, but yet the stuff won't evaporate off you because it is so nasty, gnarly outside, and we've all had that. That is what can make us feel like we're working a lot harder. Not well, what race? Well, oh, I didn't even cover this race on the podcast. The Stars and Stripes 5K that we did on the 4th of July. And again, we never even talked about it on this on an episode. Sorry, it's a 5K. I do remember. Ooh, and I threw in a big old bad me. I remember though how oppressive. That's the right word. It felt out there. The dew point had to have been sky high. It rained all morning, and then the sun came out before the race started with the feel already up into the upper 80s, if not in the 90s. It was disgusting. And yeah, there was nowhere for the moisture on our bodies to go except for leaving us soaked and drenched and just dripping sweat from head to toe, even after you finished that race and stood around for a while. That race was one of the most uncomfortable races I've done in recent memory. And I'm sure the dew point was really, really high. So that makes sense and something to keep an eye on. Look for dew point as we're getting through all this heat. And see, when is the best time to run in the summer? I bet we all know the answer to this one. The best time to run in summer is early in the morning, as it is often the coolest part of the day, which reduces the risk of heat-related illness. Avoid running during the hottest parts of the days to minimize the risk of heat stroke and dehydration. Okay. Do you burn more calories running in hot weather? Yes, you do burn more calories running in hot weather to a point. Sports dietitian Dana Eshelman explains, studies show that heat slightly increases your basal metabolic rate in an effort to keep the body cool. However, over time, the body learns to adjust to hotter temperatures. Should you fuel differently running in hot weather? Yes, you should intake more carbs running in hot weather. Oh, yay, an excuse to eat more carbs. I needed that. The reason is because your body is pumping more blood to your extremities than to your gut. Thus, your body needs fuel that is easy to digest, otherwise you will have tummy troubles. See, Dana explains, the initial workouts in heat may feel more difficult than your workouts in cooler temps. There will be a higher heart rate and perceived rate of exertion, which signals the body to use more carbs versus fat during your workout. At higher heart rates, the body is pumping blood to the muscles to provide oxygen and nutrients rather than adding or aiding in digestion. There we go. Last one, because I'm not gonna, they've got a few more things, but honestly, this is all stuff that we know. So this is the last one I'm going to cover on this. Okay. What temperature is too hot for running in hot weather? I think that's one we'd like to, at least an opinion about. Your body operates best when it is at 98.6. Running in heat causes your core body temperature to rise, which can lead to dehydration and overheating. Some symptoms include, we already know that. We already know the symptoms. Muscle cramps, excessive sweating, headaches, nausea, tiredness, and dizziness. In dire cases, running in hot weather can lead to heat exhaustion or heat stroke, but these can be avoided if you listen to your body and train smart. All right, well, okay, so they give some tips. Pre-cool, forget about your pace, be an early bird, wear light clothing, don't forget the sunscreen, hydrate, seek shade, take breaks, stop at the sink, lube up, easy now, work on your turnover, get salty. Okay, so again, with that goes into the one that we already did. I'm just going to set that article down and slowly back up now. Okay, so again, little more information about the heat. This is kind of a pro running in the heat, although still be super careful. Take away from that, you want to keep your body temperature at 98.6. If you go above that, you're risking things. Well, we're all going to go above that when we're running in this weather. It's just unavoidable. So take all the precautions and do all the things, okay? And then I promise, this is going to be the last heat-related episode that we do. I know we've had two, one in June, one now. So I think we've got it covered, right? I just want everyone to be safe, okay? We're just going to be safe. So a few things before we wrap up. One, the store, the Back of the Pack podcast store, it is finally almost done. We've got it built. Right now, the company that we're working with, we're just getting the tax stuff and the payment stuff set up, which takes a hot minute. They want freaking all of our information, but the store itself is set up. We just got to get their blessing and get all the paperwork done before they'll flip it on, and then we'll have the store. Thank you so much for being patient. I really do appreciate it. I know we've been talking about shirts and hats and tanks and all this stuff for months now. And it's not where life led us now, is it? But we're almost there. So thank you for staying patient. Lastly, in the Kansas City area, people, you guys know why this is a little wishy-washy for me, and I'll fill in everyone else in on this. So my 300th career race, for yours truly, for me personally, is coming up. It is actually going to be on Labor Day. The way I have it mapped out right now, it is going to be the Leawood Rotary Club Labor Day 5K on Labor Day in Leawood, Kansas. A 5K that is a very flat course. It's my 300th race. Now, because of the stuff in the spring involving Kansas City running legend Scott Green, who his goal was to get to 300 races, even though he was actively dying of cancer, and he did get his 300th race, and then unfortunately passed away after that. I've been leery about throwing out on 300. I'm not trying to be an asshole, and that was Scott's thing. So I'm putting it out there. If you want to come run that race with me, super great. I would love to see you guys out there. Say yay 300, and then we're just going to move on with life. But again, it's a big deal for me, although it was a bigger deal because of what happened before. And I'm again not trying to take away from that in any way, shape, or form. So everyone's like, Scott would be happy for you, and I thank you for that. I hope that would be true. And so I just want to throw that out there. It's going to be my 300th race, the Leawood Rotary Club Labor Day 5K. Join us out there. Let's just make it a fun little morning of running a race, taking pictures, saying hi, and all that good stuff that the Kansas City running family is very good at. So we're just going to make sure we continue that on and have a fun morning. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Back to the Pack podcast. Hey, maybe I'm a little out of practice because it's the first solo episode I've done in a while. So pardon me if I rambled on. Hopefully you still enjoyed it anyway. Make sure you play along with everything we do on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us, like us on Instagram and Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. You can find us absolutely everywhere. And then, of course, there is always www.botppod, backofthepackpod.com, BOTPPOD. Someone did ask, hey, do you ever have any schedules out of your upcoming races? Yes, it is on the site. So on that site, you can find our calendar that has all the races that we're going to be at. So if you ever feel like joining us, it's on the calendar. Make sure you join us. And then last but not least, the folks on Patreon, I hope you are enjoying the after action reports that I'm putting out there. I will be getting the one out for, where were we? Rock Island. It'll be out tomorrow. So if you are a Patreon subscriber of any level, you have access to the after action reports, which is just a typed up report, a page or two long from all the races that we do. So hope you enjoy that. And again, any tier, if you sign up for any tier, you'll have access to those. And then more coming up. Once the shop is launched, then the Patreon folks are going to be super thrilled that they're members, because you're going to get discounts and you're going to get, oh my goodness, pre-orders of the cool stuff. So anyway, hopefully that will entice a few more people to jump on our Patreon page, which you can find on our Facebook page. Yeah, that's going to do it. I'm going to shut the heck up. And you know what? We'll try this again next week. Maybe I'll do better. Who knows? Anyway, this has been another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I am your host, Kyle Walker. It is my pleasure as always. Thank you very much for your support. Everyone be safe in the hot weather. Have a safe week of training. We will see you next week.